The June 26th meeting of the St. Bernard Village Council will please come to order. We invite you to stand for the prayer, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance to our flag. Our Father, who art in heaven, as a body we congregate in this council chambers for the betterment of our fellow citizens. Lead us that we may do all things well. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Present.
Mr. Stuchel?
Present.
Mr. Edwards?
Present.
Ms. Hausfeld? Here. Mr. Schuldmeier?
Present.
Mr. Culbertson?
Present.
And Mr. Estep?
Present.
Let the record show that all 7 members are present. Members of council, what is your pleasure on the reading of the last minutes of the last meeting?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
make a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to dispense with the reading of the last minutes. Are there any remarks? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Members of council, are there any errors or corrections to the minutes submitted? Not, the minutes will stand as submitted. Move to reports of city officials. Mayor Stuchel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to start by wishing former Mayor and First Lady Charlie and Marilyn Vondermeulen a happy 65th wedding anniversary, which was actually yesterday. We're blessed to have them in the community and appreciate their true love for one another. The St. Bernard Independence Day celebration will be held on Saturday, July 5th at Vine Street Park and Pavilion. Gates open at 5 p.m. with the remains playing from 6 p.m. to 9:45. Rozzie's famous fireworks show will go on at 10. Come and get the best front row seat for fireworks in the area, and for those who don't want a little debris falling on them, we have clear loaner umbrellas this year to make your viewing experience more pleasurable. Recreation will be grilling, and the food will be available starting at 6 p.m. All that you need to do is to bring your crew, your cooler with your favorite beverages, and of course your chairs. We'll have extra chairs available in the pavilion as well. This will be a rocking good time, so don't miss it. Our summer concert series has been great so far. We enjoyed Stagger Lee this past Saturday. The weather was actually great, and with the newly installed fans of the pavilion, it was perfect. So don't miss your future opportunities that are just a short walk to the center of the village. The St. Bernard Garden Club's Beautify St. Bernard competition is accepting nominations through July 5th, and voting starts on July 15th. The Golden Gnome is looking for a new home in the garden of the most beautiful yard in the village. Those who'd like to nominate themselves or just your favorite yard or garden in the village, please email Kenneth Price at kennethprice916@yahoo.com, and please put yard contest in the subject line so that it is not missed. Lastly, ordinance number 20 is for the MOU with the City of Cincinnati for the cooperative agreement for the installation of speed cushions on Mitchell Avenue at the crosswalk for Roger Bacon Stadium. The funds have already been appropriated, but this is the formal agreement that we've been waiting for from Cincinnati. Ordinance 21, of course, is for the contract with Yard and Company for the master planning process for the Vine Street corridor, specifically the Heritage Hill District, but this has been extended down to the I-75 overpass. The village was awarded a $30,000 mini planning grant from Hamilton County, and we're excited to get this process started. And also, I would like to ask for a motion to go into executive session for pending litigation, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. I'll entertain a motion then to go into executive session at the end of the meeting for pending litigation.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to go into executive session at the end of the meeting.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to go into executive session to discuss pending litigation at the end of this meeting. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeier?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Council will go into executive session at the end of the meeting. Auditor, Ms. Brickway, I understand there are 2 reports. We'll go to Mr. Connor Morton first.
Thank you, Mr. President. Today I have a report prepared by Auditor Brickway. She wrote, "I am sorry I'm unable to be at tonight's meeting. I have prepared Ordinance 18-2025, which provides the following additional appropriations, which most were discussed at the last Committee of the Whole. 012I9 is professional services in the amount of $15,000. This is for additional legal services for contract negotiations. 01208C is City Hall maintenance in the amount of $20,000. This is for the design and installation of improved security at City Hall. 01-2013 is for service department equipment in the amount of $10,000. This is for new lawn equipment needed for the parks. 01788 is equipment maintenance in the amount of $86,000. This is needed for the repair of the fire engine. 07-01 is capital improvements in the amount of $100,000. This is for the cost of the repair of the wall and pool loop track at Vine Street Park. Council will also be voting on Resolution 9, 2025. This resolution certifies the renewal of the 7 mil tax levy, which will bring in $599,038 per year to St. Bernard. The resolution will be delivered to the Board of Election so that the levy can be placed on the November 4th ballot for St. Bernard residents to vote on. Thank you. That concludes her report, or this section of her report.
Thank you. Part 1, I will go to Ms. Billinghurst for Part 2.
This is the public hearing for the 2026 tax budget of the Village of St. Bernard. The budget will be submitted to Hamilton County for their review and action. The 2026 tax budget reflects the village's general fund, which is the basic operating fund of the village. First of all, revenue. This is estimated for 2026. Estimated revenue from the village's earned income tax, $12,600,000. Expected general fund receipts from property taxes, $1,100,000. Total local tax receipts is estimated to be a total of $13,700,000. Estimated revenue from the state and county from revenue sharing and certain taxes and permits, $223,200. Other expected revenue from the state and county from revenue sharing, other expected revenue for the Village of St. Bernard comes from charges for services, $680,000, fines, local licenses and permits, $200,000, miscellaneous revenue, $480,000. So the total estimated general fund revenue for 2026, total $15,283,200. Now, for the expenditures, this is an estimate for 2026. Within each class of expenditures in the tax budget, estimated costs are itemized for personnel, contractual services, supplies and materials, and equipment or capital outlay. So, classification, first one, security of persons and property, police and fire departments, $5,997,841. Public health services, $6,400. Leisure time activities, parks and recreation, $315,700. Basic utility services, the service department, $1,652,550. Transportation, dial-a-ride, $37,000, and general government, $433,812. Transfers from the general fund to other funds, for example, streets, swimming pool, debt service, master plan, and employee health plan, $4,221,016. So the total expected general fund expenditures for 2026, $14,664,319. This results in an estimated surplus of the general fund at the end of 2026 of $618,881. And that concludes my report for Peggy Brickway.
Thank you. I'm not sure, she didn't say anything about a motion to accept that proposed budget, did she?
No.
Well, we're going to play it safe. I'll entertain a motion to accept the proposed estimated 2026 budget, just to be on the safe side.
Mr. President,
Mr.
I'll
Schulmeyer.
make a motion to propose the estimated budget.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schulmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to accept the proposed estimated 2026 budget. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Housefeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schulmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Better to be safe than sorry. I'll let her know
Yeah.
that we did that. All right. Director of Law, report.
Valerie is not able to be here this evening, so I would also ask that we keep Annabelle in our prayers, if you would, but she is not able to be here this evening.
Thank you. Treasurer, Ms. Derrick.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Star Ohio account as of month ending May 30th, 2025 balance is $10,833,172.46. And that concludes my treasurer's report.
Thank you. Safety and Service Director, Mr. Williams, given by Mr. Young tonight, I believe.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have Mr. Williams' report for the month, which has been submitted to both council and administration, so I'm just going to give you a brief summary of the highlights. Swimming pool lane path repair and drainage. An engineering plan's been prepared by JMA engineers to fix the drainage issues near the pavilion and pool area and repave the pathway along the new retaining wall. This work should begin in the next couple of weeks. If you may have noticed, the railroad crossing at Vine and Spring Grove has been repaired, so that's been taken care of. Bank Street parking lot wall, they're still working on some plans for that. That could be up to approximately $85,000 when it's all said and done, so he's still doing some research on that, and we'll get an estimate once the structural engineering examination is complete. Office reconfiguration continues on the first floor of City Hall. Hall rental policies and procedures, that's been submitted to the mayor for review. Hilltop Concrete Facility on Kiley Avenue has recently requested a fence permit for the expanded portion of their site. They're working on getting that squared away, and I think there needs to be some things looked into in regards to the zoning. So he'll get back to you on that. They're going to meet with Hilltop this week, them and Jerry Stoker. Let's see here. City Hall security, they're working on some issues with City Hall security. They're reaching out to an architect to look at current security at City Hall and to develop recommendations on improving access control. Vine Street natural gas upgrade, Duke Energy continues to work on upgrading the gas supply here in St. Bernard, and they're working on permits for street cuts. Heritage Business District Plan, they're working with Yard and Company, reviewing, I believe, a contract with them. So that should be on council's docket for June 26th. There's been 2 new cameras installed at City Hall, and one in the council chambers, one in the tax office, more to be upgraded in the future. Working on a zoning change on Kiley Avenue. That's been, I think, sent to the mayor for review. New alarm system installed at Ludlow Park landfill in conjunction with the monitoring wells. And then, if you don't mind, I got a report on I know there was a 788 request for additional appropriation for the engine for the fire truck. That truck has been taken from specialty truck to Cummins today. We were able to, through competitive bidding, we were able to save, we're hoping, about $20,000 to $25,000 on that repair. So we're still gonna leave the money in there because we're not sure what it's gonna come in at, but we're hoping we can go from 88,000 to somewhere around 60 to 65,000 total. So that's in the works, and that concludes our reports.
Thank you very much. Tax Administrator, Ms. Helms.
Thank you, Mr. President. Recap the May 2025 tax receipts. Tax collection for May was $710,563. May of 2025 is up 12.5% from May of 2024. Refunds were $29,400. Delinquent tax collected with capital recovery was $212, and delinquent tax collected with the Ohio Attorney General's office was $78,039. And just a little note, I will be in Dublin for the next CAL meeting. I'll be out of the office from July 9th through 11th. I will be teaching a seminar on tax assessments for the Ohio Municipal League. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. We'll move to reports of standing committees. Finance, Mr. Morton.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our next Finance Committee meeting has been rescheduled for July 9th at 6 p.m. in the lower level of City Hall. We will be discussing the final steps to implementing the Lisk Home Repair Program and the expected impacts of House Bill 335, which drastically reduces our village's tax revenue. Our next Community Connect is scheduled for Thursday, July 3rd at 6 p.m. in the lower level of City Hall. As always, all who live, work, or shop within the village are more than welcome to attend to share any celebrations or concerns. I also want to thank Lachey Roach from LISC for her quick support towards setting up a unique 0% interest small loan program to support low-income folks as they address deferred maintenance on their homes, likely as a response to some sort of code enforcement. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Service, Mr. Gus Stuchel.
Thank you, Mr. President. The waste collection fee report for May 2025 shows that $25,800.02 was remitted to the village. As part of the waste collection report for the month of May 2025, the Service Department completed the following: 38 dump trucks spotted at residents, 23 dumpsters spotted at residents, 183.7 tons of garbage taken to the landfill, 27.9 tons of recycling material sent to Rumpke Recycle, 4,320 pounds of scrap metal recycled, 6 tires and 4 batteries recycled, responded to 9 nuisance property complaints resulting in 6 properties being cut and billed by the village. Also, trash collection for the week of July 4th will be the following. Regular trash collection will occur on Monday and Tuesday. Thursday trash collection and recycling collection will occur on Wednesday. Friday trash and recycling collection will occur on Thursday. And lastly, the Service Committee will meet on Thursday, July 3rd at 7 p.m. in Council Chambers to discuss the long-awaited revised draft of the hall rental contract. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Public Improvements, Mr. Edwards.
Thank you, Mr. President. There was no need for a Public Improvement Committee meeting, but I would like to highlight a couple of things. First, I'd like to thank all those who make our T-Ball League possible. T-Ball is played almost every Wednesday and Thursday in the month of June. Most kids that play are between the ages of 3 and 6 years old. This year there were 5 teams with about 60 kids. T-ball is where most kids learn their basics in baseball for the first time. These games couldn't happen without our great rec department and about 15 to 20 coaches who give their time to these kids in our community. It's not only a great time for the kids, but even a better time for every parent and grandparent in attendance. Monday, June 30th will be the last games this year and will include a cookout put on by the rec department. Hot dogs will be served during and after the games to close out the season. This activity builds so many great memories for all those involved. Thank you again for all those who make it possible. And lastly, I'd like to congratulate the St. Bernard branch of our public library. They're celebrating 10 years at the location they're at now. They do a great job looking for new ways to serve our village. So I'd like to thank them for all that they do. Thank you, Mr. President. This concludes my report.
Thank you. Safety, Ms. Housefeld.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tonight I have both the St. Bernard Fire Department and the Police Department reports. Month of May, report for the Fire Department. Fire incidents, structural fires 8, other fires 2, vehicle fires 1, auto accidents 5, hazmat incidents 4, service calls 2, fire alarms 13, COO alarms 1, EMS assists 10, total of 46. Mutual aid given, Elmwood Place 3, Norwood 2, Lockland 1, Springfield Township 1, Gulf Manor 1, Reading 1, and Green Township 1. EMS, incidents, transports 58, non-transports 42, a total of 100. Mutual aid given, Elmwood Place 6, Norwood 8, Reading 1, Marymount 1, mutual aid received 1 from Norwood. All personnel completed master stream operations training. All engineers and backup engineers completed 40 hours pump and aerial operation classes. Officers completed Mayday management class. That is the fire department report. I also have the police department report. For the month of May, the police department had 666 calls for service, resulting in 527 contacts. There were an additional 439 other service details that were not necessarily called in by the public. These calls for service included 31 total criminal offenses, resulting in 61 criminal arrests, 29 traffic citations, and 94 traffic warnings. Of these traffic contacts, 13 were primarily for speed and 3 were for OVI. They responded to 26 accidents as well, with 2 of these involving injuries. Under the police chief's news and notes, the police motorcycle is now out and about after maintenance and repairs and we have received a lot of positive feedback from the citizens. Motorists are asked to be alert and mindful of the motorcycle and bicycle traffic as the weather finally starts to warm up. Also, Lieutenant Ungary is officially enjoying his well-earned retirement. We would also like to congratulate Lieutenant Michael Potravsky and Sergeant Lucas Barrow on their promotions. That concludes both the police and fire report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Laws, contracts, and claims, Mr. Schultmeyer.
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Marketing, Mr. Culbertson.
Thanks, Mr. President. Please mark your calendars for a few upcoming events at the Aquatic Center. On Friday, July 11th, it will be Adult Night at the Aquatic Center from 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. On Saturday, July 12th, there will be a ringside at the poolside, which will be a live pro wrestling event in the pavilion. The event starts at 7 p.m., gates open at 6 p.m. This is a free event. Come down and cheer on hometown favorite Denver Drake, who is the son of Bill Jacobs and Jennifer Johnson. Another reminder that the St. Bernard Junior Luau will be on August 1st from 5 p.m. to midnight, and on Saturday, August 2nd from noon to midnight. Please don't forget your nominations for the Grand Marshal of this year's parade. The deadline for submission is midnight on June 30th. Please go to the website for more details on this year's luau. Thanks, Mr. President. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Committee of the Whole, Ms. Stegman.
You forgot John.
Sorry, I did.
That's all right.
Business and Industry, Mr. Estep.
That's all right. No report, Mr. President.
See, I knew that was going to happen. Sorry, John. Now, Committee of the Whole, Ms. Stegman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Minutes for the last meeting were submitted June 25th, and I have no communications this evening.
Thank you. All right, I'll let you get settled. Clerk, if you could please give the first reading of Resolution Number 9, 2025.
Resolution number 9, 2025, resolution authorizing renewal of the 7 mil tax levy on the current real property tax rate for real property located within the Village of St. Bernard, certifying said resolution to the Hamilton County Board of Elections and declaring an emergency.
Members of council, you've heard the first reading of Resolution Number 9, 2025. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr.
I'd
Schultmeyer.
like to make a motion to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance, or resolution number 9.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to suspend with the second and third reading of Resolution Number 9, 2025. Are there any remarks? Not, clerk, will you please call the roll on suspension?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schultmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption of Resolution 9?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt resolution number 9.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to adopt Resolution Number 9, 2025. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schultmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Resolution Number 9, 2025 is adopted as read. Clerk, will you please give the first reading of Ordinance Number 18, 2025?
Ordinance number 18, 2025, authorizing and directing the auditor to appropriate additional funds and declaring an emergency.
Members of council, you've heard the first reading of Ordinance Number 18, 2025. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 18.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep. Suspend with the second and third reading of Ordinance Number 18, 2025. Are there any remarks? If not, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council on Ordinance Number 18? If not, clerk, will you please call the roll on suspension?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schultmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr.
I'd
Schultmeyer.
like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 18.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep to adopt Ordinance 18, 2025. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schultmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 18, 2025 is adopted as read. Clerk, will you please give the first reading of Ordinance Number 19, 2025?
Ordinance number 19, 2025, ordinance amending the Village of St. Bernard Codified Ordinances, Section 121.08 regarding the expenditure limit requiring council approval and declaring an emergency.
Members of council, you've heard the first reading of ordinance number 19, 2025. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'll make a motion to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 19.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep, to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 19, 2025. Are there any remarks? Not, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council on ordinance 19? Not, clerk, will you please call the roll on suspension?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 19.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Edwards, to adopt ordinance number 19, 2025. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 19, 2025 is adopted as read. Clerk, will you please give the first reading of ordinance number 20, 2025?
Ordinance number 20, 2025, an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the city of Cincinnati for speed cushions on East Mitchell Avenue and declaring an emergency.
Members of council, you've heard the first reading of ordinance number 20, 2025. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I would like to make a motion to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 20.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep, to suspend with the second and third reading. Are there any remarks? Is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council on ordinance 20? Not, clerk, will you please call the roll on suspension?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 20.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep, to adopt ordinance number 20, 2025. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 20, 2025 is adopted as read. Clerk, will you please give the first reading of ordinance number 21, 2025?
Ordinance number 21, 2025, an ordinance authorizing the Director of Public Safety and Service to enter into a contract with Yarden Company for redevelopment planning services for historic Vine Street Business Corridor and declaring an emergency.
Members of council, you've heard the first reading of ordinance number 21, 2025. What is your pleasure?
Mr. President,
Mr.
I'd
Schultmeyer.
like to make a motion to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance number 21.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep, to suspend with the second and third reading of ordinance 21, 2025. Are there any remarks? If not, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council on ordinance 21? If not, clerk, will you please call the roll on suspension?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Members of council, what is your pleasure on adoption?
Mr. President,
Mr. Schultmeyer.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance number 21.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Schultmeyer, seconded by Mr. Estep, to adopt ordinance number 21, 2025. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Morton?
Aye.
Mr. Stuchel?
Aye.
Mr. Edwards?
Aye.
Ms. Hausfeld?
Aye.
Mr. Schuldmeyer?
Aye.
Mr. Culbertson?
Aye.
And Mr. Estep?
Aye.
7 ayes, no nays, motion carries. Ordinance number 21, 2025 is adopted as read. This time, does anyone on council have anything under old business? If not, does anyone on council have anything under new business?
Mr. President,
Ms. Hausfeld?
I was just over on Leonard behind Roger Bacon. Do we have any plans? I don't remember if anything's been mentioned, but there's like quite a few potholes over there.
Mr. President.
Mayor?
There actually have been marked the areas that are going to be repaired. So, yes, the street does need to be repaved. We were kind of waiting based on the fact that there are some plans for Roger Bacon on the backside of that property. They're going to be expanding parking area. They've actually owned I believe, two or three homes. So we kind of wanted to wait for heavy equipment that's going to be utilized on the street, but they've already marked areas right now with, they've actually, if you drive over there right now, you'll see orange paint where they're going to cut out those areas and repair. There are additional spots. But yes, we are aware that it does need to be taken care of, and it will be on the list as far as for a complete repaving, but just kind of waiting on the heavy equipment, and hopefully that process happens sooner.
Thank you.
Anyone else under new business? At this time, is there anyone in the audience wishing to address council this evening? Please state your name and address for the record.
Jeffrey Smith. I live at 4607 Hager. Before I get to what I came here for, I just had a question. What's your name and badge number? Okay, did you just do a U-turn out here to get here? Did you? Okay. If I do a U-turn out there, is it illegal? Would you give me a ticket? Okay. Okay. All right. I just wanted that to be on the record. So I'm just I have a few questions. If you don't want to answer them, don't answer them. If you do, I appreciate it. Has any city official, council member ever failed to recuse themselves of a vote involving a vendor, employee, or financial interest tied to them or immediate family?
Mr. President,
Mr. Morton.
I can assure you that I have not. It's required for all elected officials to undergo conflict of interest training, and we have to sign off on that as well. So I don't want to speak on behalf of my colleagues up here, but as long as we're honoring that, then I would assume they would have the same answer as me.
Thanks.
Mr. President,
Mr. Culbertson.
with my wife being the clerk, I've had to abstain from voting on certain things that singled her out at the advice of the law director. Anytime that she's been put into any kind of ordinance, I've asked the law director first if I was safe voting on it or not, just to make sure it stays ethical.
Okay.
Mr. President?
Ms. Halsell.
I do not, I have voted on stuff for the police and the fire department that I had brothers on, but it did not impede my personal financing. It did not have anything to do with, I wish the law director was here, but it has, his involves his personal finances. His wife is there, they live together. Mine are separate in the city, and it does not affect me at all. Thank you.
Have any elected officials received undisclosed gifts, favors, or compensation from contractors, real estate developers, or public vendors within the last 5 years?
Mr. President.
Mr. Morton.
Exact same answer as your first question. That's encapsulated in the same agreement and ethics training that we have to undergo as well.
Yeah, I have not.
On what legal basis were the last 10 executive sessions convened, and do any of those involving litigation or employment actions connected to a council member's relative?
Mr. President.
Mr. Morton.
We are authorized as a public body to enter executive session for pending litigation. Every time we go into executive session, we list off one of the reasons that allows you to go in executive session. Unfortunately, none of us are going to be able to answer your questions about the specific topics that we discuss, because that would be breaking the law and the reason for executive session. Sorry.
Okay. Have any land deals, terminations, or budget allocations been discussed in closed session without public vote, disclosure, and potential violation of Ohio's Open Meetings Act?
Mr. President.
Mr. Morton.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Have city officials ever instructed staff to delay, redact, or deny a valid FOIA or Ohio public records request outside of boundaries of RC 149.43 exemptions?
Mr. President.
Mr. Morton.
I missed the first part of your question. I'm sorry.
Have city officials ever instructed staff to delay, redact, or deny a valid FOIA or Ohio public records request outside the boundaries of RC 149.43 exemptions?
Again, speaking on behalf of myself, and I would assume others have the same answer, absolutely not. That would be illegal.
Okay. Were any personal devices used by council or police leadership to conduct city business, and if so, have those devices been archived per public record retention laws?
Mr. President.
Mr. Morton.
Sorry. I'm not sure what you mean by devices. I do know that there was a case approximately 4 years ago or 5 years ago that went to the state auditor's office where they conducted an investigation. I wasn't on council at that time though, so I'm not privy to the details. If you're referring to a recording device that records public records, again, disposing of that outside of the records retention schedule would be violating the law, so I would say no.
Okay. Has the city failed to respond to any FOIA within the mandatory 10 business day requirement without legal justification, and who approved the non-compliance? If so.
Mr. President,
Morton.
there is nowhere in ORC that dictates a specific day time frame on when to respond to a public records request. FOIA actually applies to federal regulations, not state regulations, like what you might be familiar with sunshine laws. What they determine, or what they tell us that we as public officials have to do, is respond to them within a reasonable amount of time. There's a lot of different case law that regards a bunch of different types of public records requests where that varies case by case. So it's tough for me to tell you that we've responded within 10 days because sometimes it would take officials much longer to do that in order to, say, redact social security numbers from a public record or some other sort of private information that is not included within Ohio Sunshine Law. So I can't tell you that we've responded to public records always within 10 days. I can tell you is that with our annual audit from the state, they look at every single public records request on a public records request log and ensure that we are responding within a reasonable amount of time.
Okay. Has the police chief or any ranking officer used CPD database or internal access to search for information on private citizens, including myself, outside of an open investigation or legal process?
Council wouldn't have knowledge to that question.
Okay. Have any internal sexual misconduct allegations ever been made involving the current chief or officers under his command, including harassment, inappropriate online behavior, or misuse of department time or resources?
Mr. President.
Mayor.
Other than by you, no.
Has the chief of police ever used social media, city press contacts, or unofficial public statements to target, discredit, or humiliate a civilian, whistleblower, or journalist?
Once again, council would have no knowledge.
Mr. President.
Mayor.
As far as his personal response on Facebook, it would be out of our control, but no.
No? Okay. Has any city leader, including law enforcement, ever been the subject of retaliation claim tied to whistleblowing or protected speech under the First Amendment?
Not to council's knowledge.
Has the police department or any elected official ever conducted informal surveillance, social media monitoring, or traffic enforcement disproportionately against my persons, or particular people that are speaking out?
Not to our knowledge.
I'm getting to the end here. How many settlement agreements with or without non-disclosure clauses have been paid out to the city or police department in the last 10 years, and how many include the whistleblower-related elements?
That's information we would not have.
Has the city ever failed to notify the public of payout over $10,000 as required under the fiscal transparency policies?
Mr. President,
Morton.
again, not to our knowledge, not since I've been on council.
Okay. If the city were subpoenaed tomorrow for all internal communications regarding public complaints, FOIA requests, police conduct, whistleblower handling, would every elected official and department head pass on independent review of their compliance?
Mr. President.
Mr. Morton.
Sorry, I'm confused by your question. Can you restate it or rephrase it in any way?
I'll read it again for you.
Okay.
If the city was subpoenaed tomorrow for an internal communication regarding public complaints, FOIA requests, police conduct, and whistleblower handling, would every elected official and department head pass an independent review of their compliance?
Again, I can only speak for myself. I would say yes, I would pass, and I would assume my colleagues on council and in the administration would pass that as well.
Okay, and then last one. Will each of you, for the record, publicly state under penalty of perjury, I have never misused my authority, weaponized my position, or violated a citizen's rights directly or indirectly in service to the city or its internal interests? All right, thank you.
Thank you. All right, anyone else in the audience wish to address council? Please state your name and address for the record.
Tom Cunningham, 702 East Ross. I heard potholes mentioned in a previous report. Is there a chance the potholes near the railroad crossings at Spring Grove and north of Murray Road could be repaired? Because I've noticed going that way that there are several potholes in that area. I don't know if that's the city's responsibility or the railroads, but there are potholes that need to be fixed.
Mr. President.
Mayor.
So, unfortunately, I'm very aware of the potholes. And the Director of Public Services and Safety has been painfully trying to communicate with the railroad because we actually have to get an easement to actually make the repair. So we can't just go down and fix it on demand. And trying to reach them to get permission to make the repair or have them do the repair is an extremely painful process. But because of the railroad right-of-way that they have, it's not as simple as it would seem. So when there is obvious erosion, pothole developing, getting larger, we cannot go fix it until we're actually given authority to do so. And we have been trying to communicate with them. We actually would like to be able to address not just a pothole, but actually address the approach on either side as we speak to formally repair it. So we are trying, but it's not a simple process. So I apologize for the fact that they exist, but it doesn't make sense what we all have to go through just to work with them. But yes, we want to, to be able to deal with it. They don't have to ask permission either to stop the train for 20 minutes. And it's simpler for them also at the same time to just write a check when they get fined, but they won't respond to us over a pothole.
Well, I know if we wait for the railroad to repair it, it'll be the second Wednesday of never before they fix them, so.
I'll put that in my calendar.
Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Camille. Anyone else in the audience wish to address council? Please state your name and address for the record.
309 tax times 5 next Friday and not out garbage that day.
Mr. President.
Mayor.
So next Friday, yes, the service department and City Hall are closed. So everything moves back a day. So basically Thursday collection is on Wednesday, Friday's collection moves to Thursday. So, and then we're closed Friday. So you just move it a day back. Monday and Tuesday are unchanged, and your normal Thursday and Friday move back a day. Day early.
Thank you. Anyone else? I know, I forget exactly who mentioned it, but somebody mentioned the library being 10 years old. This, I think it was just Monday the 23rd. I'd like to give a shout out to Councilman Mike Schultmeyer. He worked tirelessly to get this building built down here when we didn't think we were ever going to get a library and we'd have to go somewhere else. So just a shout out to Mike Schultmeyer for his persistence on getting that down there for us. So, with that, the next committee of the whole will be Thursday, July 10th at 7 p.m. And council will now go into executive session to discuss pending litigation. All right, council is back in session. We met in executive session to discuss pending litigation. At this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Mr. President,
Ms. Housefeld.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Seconded.
Motion by Ms. Housefeld, seconded by Mr. Morton to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.